Good.
All right. Good afternoon, it's not even afternoon yet. I'm thinking about the main board. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for calling in, being in on this nice warm day that we're having in Cleveland today. We will now call the meeting to order, and I am told we have a quorum. Is that correct, Ms. Rose?
That is correct.
All right. As always, I want to remind everyone, and including myself, because I often need to be reminded, this is being recorded and we are on YouTube. So be advised of that. We'd like to start the meeting with me asking for a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting, which was on November 12th, 2025. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. Have a second? Can I second?
Second.
Oh, there's
Okay.
John. Thank you, John. We're
Nice.
second. All in favor say aye, aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any objections? It carries. All right, we will now turn the meeting over to our RSM team to report on the campus transformation pay review request.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Devin Marchand. I think many of you have met me before, and I'm a supervisor with our risk consulting practice. Have been with the firm for about 8 years now, and have been working on this project since 2019, actually. With me, I have Matt Blondell, who is a director in our risk consulting practice and has also been working on this project for quite a while behind the scenes. So we can go ahead and skip to the next slide. So this is an overall summary of the work that we have completed. The one that is in progress is the Apex facility. So we have a total cost that we have reviewed of $198.7 million, comprised of 315 invoices. The total construction cost is 196 million, and then 2.7 million of the consultant costs. We have recovered 1 million, which I'll talk more about. Somebody have a question? Okay. And then we are reviewing we're in the middle of our QC of our interim report for the last interim review that we have done. The other three on there are the projects that we have completed so far, which is the Glick Tower and transformation, the ambulatory enabling projects, and the behavioral health projects, which have all been completed, and we've done our closeouts there. You can go to the next slide, please. So kind of expanding on the summary of the Apex project. Again, 198 million total costs. The 1 million that we recovered was due to a duplicate billing that was caught during one of our interim audits that Turner Construction did. Fix that after we brought it to their attention, so that has been resolved. And again, we are in the process of finalizing our interim report for the last review that was completed.
And before Devin goes on, so I do think it's important to note that the 198.7 million so far is a combination of multiple projects. So it includes the parking garage, the demolition where the parking garage was, the new construction of the parking garage, as well as the administrative and outpatient facility, and I think one other piece too. So just that's the Apex is, it's one project, but it's really a combination of multiple different buildings, just to make that clear.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So this is a layout of what we are doing on a month-to-month basis, and then for our interim and closeout reviews. So each month we are evaluating every invoice that comes in from Turner for the construction pay applications, as well as several vendor engineering and consulting vendors. So we're evaluating the invoices for compliance with the contract, making sure that everything is mathematically accurate, validating that costs are supported, making sure that any supporting schedules reconcile to the schedule of values or the overall invoice. And then we are in the workflow in eBuilder or Trimble, So we work directly with the project team in the project management system. And then for our interim and closeout, that's when we do our deep dive. So we're actually doing a reconciliation of what the contractor has in their accounting system for the project and reconciling that to what has been billed to date to make sure that, you know, the cost that they have incurred plus their allowable fees for the contract is actually what they have been billing you. Excuse me. And then that, yeah, we provide a report each time we do an interim to project management. And we can go to the next slide. So for the Apex project, project highlights, as many of you probably know, Turner Construction is the contractor. The total contract value for the construction portion is currently at, as of the last pay application that we have reviewed, is at $208 million. The timeline, construction final pay application is planned to be through the period ending May 2026. And so our procedures for our closeout review should take place around the end of June, early July is when usually that last pay application comes in, and the contractor should have their accounting records up to date. And then the, excuse me, so we have done 14 construction and interim reviews so far, including some change order reviews. And again, 2.7 of that total cost is made up of 7 consultants. Next slide, please. So for our monitoring results, that a little over $1 million total. The first one there, they duplicatively billed some subcontractor costs. Again, they resolved that as soon as we brought it to their attention. And then during our interim reviews, one of the things that we do is recalculate their allowable subcontractor default insurance markup. That will change as the project goes on, just because of timing differences and whatnot. But as of the last interim audit that we completed and reported on, there was almost 17,000 of costs that to be overbilled as of that last date. But like I said, as we get closer to the end, that will be reconciled in full, and any potential overbilling will be credited back by the contractor. So for next steps, we are, again, in our QC process, should have the next interim report issued to project management soon. And then we'll continue our monthly process while the invoices are still coming in. And then about the middle of this year, we will do our closeout, and then that will be it. Anything else, Matt, you want to touch on?
No, thank you for the update, Devin. Certainly happy to answer any questions that the committee has. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Just question, Mike Summers
Go ahead,
here.
Mike.
So I'm understanding it that we're not expecting any supply chain issues or any international transition issues, tariffs, anything that will get in the way at this point?
That's one I can answer, Mr. Summers. And the answer right now is no. We've done very well. We've had really all the product we need is here, so we haven't had that issue to deal with. I'll get into a little bit more in my report, but you know, we're always dealing with labor and some other issues, but nothing in that regard that you mentioned.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, good job.
Good timing.
Yeah. It always helps.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, thank you for that report. And in a timely manner, we'll now hear a report, an update on the campus transformation updates, and Mr. Bisek can take it from here.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Walker. We'll let the slides queue up. Okay. Let's go on to the next slide. Just a quick agenda, main things to cover. Obviously, the outpatient health center, we'll talk both about construction progress. I'll take care of that. And then Eileen Hayes will talk about transition and activation, and also the ambulatory enabling, last of the ambulatory enabling projects in emergency. And I'll finish up with a little discussion about the legacy buildings and demolition planning. So next slide, please. Just linger on this for a second or two, and then we go to the next. Okay, so construction update. These are the current construction activities here going on this month. Punch list, which is sort of the final walk through the 5th floor and 4th floor, have been done. 3rd floor, we're down to, for the most part, doing cleaning and preparing for the punch list. 2nd floor, we have a small space where the administration area used to be that we've just got to finish up as a small community lounge for people who are there for extended period of time. A little bit of MEP rough in, but that floor is coming along pretty well. 1st floor, drywall finishing. I think honestly most of that is done by now. We're looking at painting, casework, finishing flooring, and getting into the finishes. Ground floor, terrazzo flooring. There's polishing of that going on right now. And then in a specific area, HDR room, which is in the cancer center, that is an area that we made some modifications to a little later in the game. So lead shielding is going in, and that room's being prepped. So we've kind of got that isolated, so it's running on its own little individual schedule. In addition, same is true for the CT equipment that is also being room is being prepped ready for the equipment to come in. So those are a little different condition. So right now we're running probably 160 to 170 workers on site. All of the interior trades from drywall finishing up through electrical, mechanical are on site. So a lot of activity. Let's go to the next slide, please. Just a few photos. You should have seen these before, so I don't want to spend too much time on them other than just to give you a sense of what's going on. So 4th floor registration, that's the front or west public lobby. 5th, 4th floor look like this. The rest on down are going to be very similar. So you're down to countertop casework, small things like that. 3rd floor final cleaning. This is a back quarter, just showing this because wall protection has gone up now in this back quarter where all of the material moves through the building, carts and things when we get into operation. And so once that is done, the base and some of the other final trim pieces are going in. 3rd floor, other one down here in the lower left, just auto door opener. So these last little pieces of equipment, or pieces of equipment that operate the doors and things, those are now going in. We've also got IS device deployment on the upper floors and fitting out the TDR rooms, and we're still working to coordinate the completion of that. The key here is trying to get all the trades work done and have a cleared, clean floor space to continue this work. So this is part of that handoff zone I've talked about before, whereas the contractor is moving through, we're trying to come in as soon as we can behind that to do some of the things we need to do as the owner to prep the building and get ready for us to move in. Next slide, please. Just a few more as we're working through different parts of the building. You can see the patient lift systems up. We have that in many rooms. And then 4th floor ceiling. This is a wood ceiling in the public space that's predominantly in most floors. So this is just a section for it to fill out. And then the infusion room is just a note, the sliding doors for a couple of the private bays that we have there have gone in. So I hate to call them odds and ends, but in some ways they're a little different because there's pieces here and there, but all of that kind of work is going in now as well. Next slide. And down to the ground floor, 1st floor, doing the final flooring up there on the 1st floor and getting casework and countertops in, and down below a lot of focus on getting the terrazzo work done now. That will allow us to complete installation of some of the fin tube radiators that go in, and that would allow us to complete the hydronic heating system portion and begin circulating water through there and start testing and that sort of thing. Next slide, please. So activities over the next month. We have scheduled here in another 2 weeks We've got our fire alarm testing on our own, third floor punch list, more cleaning and final work, getting down to the ground floor. So trying to get to a point here in the next couple of weeks where we're really talking about ground and first floor as the main areas of work. But what's coming ahead for us that's really key here is in 2 weeks, we're going to do a fire alarm and fire suppression system tests that affect the entire building. And that's why we're racing to get things done on first and ground. Fire marshal will be out and other inspectors to inspect these systems. This is key to us because passing these inspections means the building is sufficiently fire safe in their minds that the owner can now have access to it. So this is one hurdle to get over. Then by the end of the month, we'll have the other building inspectors, particularly mechanical, electrical, plumbing, walking through to be able to get us to a point where we can be issued a time limited or temporary certificate of occupancy. And the key thing for the project here is at that point, with that certificate, we will be able to start moving equipment into the building, loading it with all the other things that need to be there, and begin our process of training, simulations, all other things that we need to do to take it from a construction project ultimately to an operating building. So we're a lot to do, but tracking on that right now. Just a note on that, we had originally anticipated having a little bit more handoff period. You can see, let's go on to the next slide here. There we go. You can see all the activity kind of stacked up here at the end. And so we've stepped back a little bit from the things that we wanted to do in order to make sure the construction has adequate ability to get done, particularly as we're working on multiple floors at once. So after discussions with our contractor and internally, we still have a great deal of work that we need to do to get ready to open the building and see patients. So the first patient day is now pegged for June 1st. This will give us adequate time to do all the training we need to do, not only of the caregiving staff, but to do the commissioning and hand off to our facilities people, to do all of the building loading and the simulations and all of those things. So we're tracking on that. Key milestone out there to help us do that is getting to the final certificate of occupancy under the contract that's due to us no later than May 15th. We're tracking to that. We've been working with the contractor to actually pull that back to a late April 1st of May date is our target there. But that allows, like I said, adequate time to get all of these things done so that when patients come in, our staff are well acquainted with the building, know how everything is going to work, and adequate information is provided to everyone to be able to operate in the building. So with that, let's go on to the next slide.
Hold on a minute.
Right, go ahead.
Yeah. So if we get occupancy to 15th, isn't that a little close to June 1st?
It is. That's why we're moving it back. But we're going through now a detailed discussion of all the pieces that need to be done. Some of it is construction related, and some of it will be owner related. That we need our equipment in there to do it operationally. So
right.
It is workable.
Okay.
Yeah. Question.
Go ahead, Mike.
So have we seen have the building inspectors, which I presume are all City of Cleveland, have
Yes.
they been inspecting along the way? I mean, I hope they're not going to walk in and for the first time to understand what they're looking at.
No, that's a good question, and they have been inspecting along the way. So each time we get to a point on the floor where we want to close up the ceiling and put the ceiling tile in, they come out and do an inspection to make sure that everything above the ceiling is correct. We do the same thing when the walls are ready to be enclosed. So there are multiple inspections that have been occurring along the way. So they've watched the progress of the work and seen what's going on. So when they come out again, this will be one of a series of visits they have made over time to the building.
And I know from my personal experience in Lakewood that sometimes things can get a little testy. Have we had any points of contention or differences of opinion with the inspectors?
Not a specific thing I can point out, but I know there have been serious discussions. I've had them myself, but no points of contention that I can tell you about that would prevent anything we're trying to do here.
Right.
I mean, I have to say, it really helps that the inspectors and the same inspectors are showing up frequently and know the job well. That's the first key to this.
No, I gathered from, I didn't ask the question, but I inferred that they were the same inspectors showing up
Yes.
because it's such a complex job. And
Yes,
it's a serious job to inspect this. I mean, their job, building departments are in the Department of Public Safety of most cities. I mean, that's really the issue. Water and electricity should never meet.
correct.
And, and it goes on from there. So, they have a serious role. And sometimes there are differences of opinion about how to meet a standard, not whether to meet a standard. And I'm glad
Right.
to hear those have been worked out.
Yes. Not that something won't come up, Mr. Summers, but we're trying to stay on top of those issues.
Yeah, good.
Other questions? Okay, now I'd like to move on and hand this to Eileen Hayes, who's really the lead in all the transition planning activation on behalf of the organization. So Eileen, please go.
Great, thanks, Jim. As you see in front of you is the transition activation schedule that we have been presenting over the past year. The red line there denotes today's date. And as you can see over the past year, a lot of work has been accomplished with all of the stakeholders involved. On the pinkish area, peaches area, I guess that is the work done by all of our committees that we had set up for 9 to 10 months, looking at everything that needed to be prepared for us to transition operations into the new building. If you look at the green bar, and this is where you can see some of the assumptions that were made a year ago on the deployment. Jim had pointed out that we were able to start deployment of all the IS devices by floor. We had hoped when we set up the schedule that we would be able to start loading the building from the 5th floor down this past fall. That has not occurred. So that's where, some of the activity that we need to get done to load all of the equipment, all the furniture, all the artwork. That is primarily what is driving us to make that change in the patient first day of June 1st. So you can see on the schedule at the very top, the temporary certificate of occupancy is still being scheduled for 2/27. After that date, that's when my team can get in there. So on 3/2, we'll have our trucks loaded up. We have most of our equipment at a warehouse, and we'll start loading up the building from 3/2 up until 4/17. We'll start our
red reported Glick Center floor 8.
Are you guys hearing that?
Attention code red reported Glick Center floor 8. Attention code red report.
Okay, there's a code red in Glick Center, obviously. So
Doesn't sound good.
yeah, no. Hopefully you guys heard that last piece. So we're really focused on the blue section right now, which is all the training and education of our staff. Next slide, please. These are the elements that our team has put together so that we can assure that all of the staff, all of the providers, all of the support staff who will be working in the outpatient health center are prepared to do so on day one. So the components are our foundational learning, which is basically we'll do a few LEAP modules that we need to assure that everybody has the fire life safety instruction as well as emergency response instruction. Those are required by Joint Commission. Joint Commission will be scheduled 6 months after we open the building to come out and survey everything. So we'll have documentation that we've trained and educated everybody so they're safe in the building. We have been working over the past year as we've developed all new workflows, as we've established hours of operation and all of the details in operating manual that all of the departments will have. So again, it goes from how you enter the building to the patient workflows, to the paths of travel, to the emergency department, and to GLIC. So that'll be a great resource for all of the staff in the department. We also will require department-specific orientation. Obviously the imaging department is different than the internal medicine department. So every person working in the building, again, will have to check off that they've had that training for Joint Commission. We will be scheduling a day in the life. We did move this date as well. It was originally scheduled at the end of March. We're moving it to mid-April. Basically, we'll run the scenarios. Each clinic will have the opportunity to do basically mock scenarios in their department. This is also an opportunity for us to test the IS devices that have been deployed, making sure people know where things will be located, addressing any issues with doors that may not operate correctly. So it gives us time to test the building and gives the contractor and our internal resources opportunity to modify anything before first patient. Also tours, after we get through the temporary certificate of occupancy, we'll be able to have our own employees enter the building without all the PPE requirements. So those will be scheduled, again, orienting everybody to the building, how they transverse the building, what's in the building. So they get very familiar. And we'd like to do that even before day in the life activities. So they're a little bit familiar before we run those scenarios. And then finally, we will be having equipment and technology vendor fair. Next slide, please. This is where on 2 days later in February, on February 26th and 27th in the Rammel Camp Atrium, we will be bringing in any new equipment, any new furniture, any new technology so that our staff has an opportunity to touch and feel it, again, before we get to day in the life activities. Next slide, please. That's the update on the OPHC. Any questions for me on the activation? Hearing none.
I have one. It's really, I guess it's more for maybe John. John, were there any volume assumptions built in with the delayed opening? Are there going to be any volume impacts to the delayed opening that they're going to have to adjust for? John Moss, do you know? Sorry.
That's okay. No, I do not.
Chrissy, do you know?
No.
So Kate might want to address this, but
Sure.
no is the short answer. Because we've continued the schedules at the outpatient pavilion, and it really is a matter of taking those schedules and relocating them to the new building before we then start to grow in other areas. So this first phase is just like the simple location change. Kate,
So
anything to add to that?
Nope, that was exactly what I would have said.
Well, I have a question, Kate, then. So, and again, water under the bridge. So there's no reduction in volume that was budgeted as you do the moves of a department, and then post move there were no increases in volume anticipated with the new building?
Not initially. So that's a great question. And there are, while we do have 2 days of clinic that will close in order to move,
That's budgeted.
that it is budgeted, but it's also, we're working with each of the departments to determine how to make sure that you don't see the drop. And then it really was built as initially a lift and shift, as Dr. Alexander just said, where we're moving clinics into a beautiful new building. We do expect to see efficiencies gained within that, but we didn't budget for them in this first year.
Okay, that answered my question. Thank you.
Enabling projects. Go ahead, Dr. Walker.
No, same thing you were going to say. Any other questions about ambulatory enabling? All right.
Yeah, just real quick on that next slide. The last project that we do have is the expansion of the Parma PT/OT area, as well as a reconfiguration of their space and a refresh of the podiatry area. So again, this is our last AEP project. As you can see, we've had to develop that into 3 different phases because we are operating in this space. So that lighter blue color is where we're expanding the PT gym. It was basically a vacant space that we've, cut through the wall to expand that. So All of this will come online in April, and then we will finally close out all the ambulatory enabling projects as originally designed. Next slide, please. Emergency department, just a few updates on that. I know at our last meeting, we talked through in a lot of detail what this project entailed. Again, the areas in the color are areas that we have planned for renovation. The gray area is, which is probably over 50,000 square feet, is the refresh area. Again, that entails, going into the patient rooms and upgrading the patient rooms. We all know that our emergency department hasn't really been upgraded in over 20 years. Next slide, please. So where we're at today and next steps is we had completed the design development with our architects back in early fall. We did do an original cost estimate based on the design development. We actually have a meeting tomorrow again with our design team to break this out. We want to focus on the refresh project. So we need to finalize the construction documents, which should take about 4 weeks. We'll also begin to finalize the construction documents and bid documents for those colored areas I showed you, which are the renovation areas. That will take 12 weeks for us to complete those documents. And again, we want to engage a contractor and bring somebody on board so we can better understand exactly how we would phase this work. Again, we're running an ER while we're doing this work. So once we have a contractor on board, we can work through that scheduling and phasing and then finalize the cost based on exactly what we're going to build. So again, we hope to commence that refresh end of this quarter, first part of second quarter 26. Next slide. Again, this just shows all the red areas, the amount of work that we will need to do to refresh the area. Again, this will take us some time. More than likely, we'll have to start in an area and take 3 or 4 rooms at a time, refresh them. Again, the refresh includes, new flooring, new cabinetry, new lights, new paint, and we'll work through the ED, pending volumes, working with the operating team on how best to get that done. Any questions on the emergency department?
Just one. Will any of this disrupt function in the ED, or will we be able to work around it?
It's our hope to work around it, especially, the refresh project will just be hopefully, taking a few rooms out of service at a time. When we get to the renovation projects, we have preliminary phasing that it will disrupt those areas. But working with the operating folks, we feel like we can accommodate those phases and still keep everything operating.
And we've included the staff and all this, so they've had some input in what we're doing.
Yes. Yes, we've had providers, all the staff involved in the process. And I think that that's how the scope of this project really changed based on the input from our staff and providers. We've really looked at how we make that front end way more effective and efficient for not only the patients, but for the staff, so that in the triage areas, nursing staff has complete visibility to those folks waiting in the waiting area. A big part of in that middle section there is the teamwork area that will be transformed to accommodate today's operations for the staff working in there.
And we still have a good handle on security because our staff is always concerned about security.
Yes. Yeah, security is stationed in there 24/7.
So if I can add just a comment or two to expand, Eileen, upon what you said, but so each of the areas that's dark color here that is involves some renovation, as Eileen noted, each of those will have small phases within it. So we can't take the whole thing out of service at a time. So to your point, Dr. Walker, functionally, all the activities that occur in that zone have to occur throughout the construction process. So there will be phases within each one of those that allows us to do the renovation work while functionality of being able to get people registered to triage and all that is unaffected. So it's a complicated project, but that's why this communication with the staff, not only through design, but through the planning and construction is key. And I think that's why we've got a good group working on it.
I appreciate that because it's a busy ER, so I know it's a challenge. Yeah.
So Dr. Walker opened up the Pandora's box, Jim, so I'm going to jump in.
Blame me, Ron. Go right ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming your ISLMs that are going to be required are going to be, because if you're doing renovation of the room, you're going to have to seal off an area.
Yes.
And you have to have an ISLM in, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yes. And that's why this is going to have to be done in such small pieces, why it's going to take time.
But even if you're
basically
small,
have to secure it.
you still have to do an ISLM, and it's going to adversely impact flow. And so Chrissy, I'm just going to say there's going to be some disruption. The question is, the team's going to have to manage it. So
yeah. Correct. Well, I totally agree, and that's why I think a little different than some of the projects is we've just got to be hand in glove with the operating team throughout this project to figure out.
So, Dr. Walker, ISLMs are interim life safety measures you have to put in place when you're doing the.
Thank you, because I didn't know what they were. So thank you.
I just want to make sure. I'm sorry, I should have just said it instead of using the jargon. So I apologize. So I just think the ED staff's going to have to be aware of what those are. And I think the other piece of the puzzle, the closer you get to the behavioral psych area, is it's going to be the question of they can't leave equipment in the rooms when they depart. At the end of every day, they have to truck it back in because of the risk to patients. Right. So sorry.
Nope, those are all great points. And I think as we get down the road a piece, this is where we're going to line out the detail and want to bring it back.
Okay.
To this group and show you how those pieces get done. But it does bring up a good point that Eileen made earlier on the refresh portion of it. So everything you see here in white, which is about 60% of the total, really we're just inside the existing rooms. We still have to do the ILSMs and infection control, things like we would normally do, but the routing should be the same. But anyway, all of that can be done sort of irrespective of getting the other pieces done. So by doing that separately and early really doesn't have an impact on the future things. They're not going to be at cross purposes to each other and vice versa. So we're treating that as a standalone project. Let's go ahead and get that part done so we can make progress on the job now while we're working out the detail of those areas that do get some reconfiguration.
So I appreciate that, Jim. I think what everyone is saying is we keep, doing this in an active and busy ER is a challenge. So we're glad to hear that you're looking at this. This is, it'd be nice if we could move the ER across the street for 2 years, but that's not going to happen. So we've got to, work around. But I'm glad to hear your staff is looking at. And please continue to work closely with the nurses and doctors and staff down there to make sure that we don't disrupt them any more than we have to.
No, appreciate that, and we will. Okay, next slide, I think, is that okay. So I just wanted to take a moment on the legacy buildings, and I'm going to stop right here because I do want to thank James Wellens, who took this photograph. It's probably one of the best photographs of campus that I've got to work with because you're so well oriented. So thank you, James. Next slide. Okay, a few things going on. Our SOUP team, internal space optimization, utilization, and planning group is working on the relocation of the handful of departments that are still in the core and towers. And so that work is ongoing. Parallel to that, we've engaged an architectural engineering consultant. This was a request for a qualifications process, a selection process. We have a team on board. They will be focused on two things related to this. The first is the MEP utility systems rerouting and any alternate service plan. So just a quick example for you. The outpatient plaza today receives, its hot water for heating comes from the power plant. So in order for that building to continue in service while we do the demolition, it will have to have its own. So that's just one of the many things we will do to keep the buildings we are retaining in full operation while the buildings that come down can be detached from those services. So they're working on that. They will also be working with us on planning for the relocation of all the departments that are in the buildings that are not part of this phase one, which is focused on core towers and the buildings at the north end. After that, we still have Hammond, Gannon, South, that group of buildings we're going to take down. So they will be assisting us with the planning of that. And in addition, they'll be responsible for any of the refacing of buildings that are now exposed as a result of the demo. So we've got a lot of work for them lined up. We're to a point where I think we've clarified the scope we need them to do. We're finalizing the fee for that. They're beginning their work, but we need to finish executing that contract.
Jim,
Yes.
have we figured out if we'll be able to keep the K building up, or what are we going to do about that?
Well, honestly, we're looking right now at a couple of different options as to where all the functions in the K building could go. So it's not just the people who work there, but many of the meeting spaces that we use. So I need to come back to my the ELT group to lay out, here's what our options are to do that. It would be ideal if we could accomplish that as well, just because the cost savings of being able to take down the towers with the KM building empty is the benefit of that outweighs what the cost would be to get people out a little bit early. So that's part of it, and we're working on that.
Fine, just keep us posted.
Will do. And then the last piece, just to bring to your attention, is we have filed, as of last night, I think, a grant with the US EPA to seek funding for asbestos abatement in the older buildings. I have to tell you that when we first saw this application in December, we did not think, a few of us who are not completely versed in these grants, that this project would apply. But we got some outside assistance as well as our internal team. And this is Allison Pulios's team with Gloria Augusta Davis and Greg Zuka, who really helped put this together. We, through their connections, found a consultant who specializes in this and who confirmed for us we really do have a good case. So through the holidays in December into early January, we put together this application, had a public meeting, and did all the things we need to do. So that has gone in. We're requesting the maximum that we could get for this, which is $4 million. We'll see what we get. We'll probably hear in about May how we do with that grant. So while that's going on, because the bulk of these buildings we want to take down, the core towers are empty, we're going to start doing some on-site, more invasive exploratory work to get a better handle on the real total scope of the asbestos in the building. So we'll put ourselves in a position to be able to engage a contractor to start that work, hopefully sometime by midsummer or so. Next slide, please. Okay, so the focus for the next 2 quarters, obviously completion of the outpatient health center, all the things that have to happen for the handoff of operation and activation to get to first patient days. So that's really the most absorbing thing we're working on. Again, as Eileen mentioned, closing out the ambulatory enabling, that'll be the last project that falls in that category. That will be done. And then continued focus on the legacy buildings, getting people relocated, and getting prepared for demolition documents and abatement. So that's going to occupy the bulk of our time for the next 6 months. And I believe that is the last slide. Any questions before we move on? Okay. Then I'd like to hand it off to Karen.
Got a quick question, Jim.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's really more of a statement. I'm going to connect with Allison Poulos. There is a pool of brownfield reclamation funds through NOACA, subset Vibrant Neo 2040 board. It's not a big pool of money, but it might be a big enough, maybe $200,000 or $300,000 that might help. So I'll check with her to follow up. I'm co-chair of that board, along with Earl Lycan, former mayor of Shaker Heights. And it's really designed to deal with these kinds of legacy issues and hopefully there's an economic development piece that comes out of it. Long term, there is here. But I just wanted to make you aware. I'm going to follow up with her and see if we can make some headway there.
Okay, very good. Appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, Jim. I think we're ready for Karen's report.
Yes, we are. While he's loading that, you can go to the next page. I'd like to give a synopsis of the projects we completed in 2025. The facilities team did almost 150 projects totaling almost $5.8 million. The bulk of these projects, 140 of them, were contingency or break fix items totaling about $3.5 million. We had two major facilities infrastructure projects totaling almost $2 million, and 7 projects we initiated for other departments. The contingency projects, as always, are primarily routine repair or replacement of aged or failed infrastructure. And the two strategic projects included boiler replacement, one at the main campus in our old powerhouse, and the other at Parma Medical Center. The projects we did for other departments, including an elopement prevention program, a dental vacuum system, and several reverse osmosis deionized water upgrades for the pathology department at various labs throughout the system. Ongoing projects include upgrade to the building's automation system, which controls all the HVAC equipment on the campuses, our critical care pavilion generators, and the installation of the new steam boiler at Parma. Also, a new chiller, cooling tower, and controls for the outpatient plaza are being installed as part of the Campus Transformation 2.0 project. Next slide, please. So far, well, when I wrote this document, we had 14 major and minor projects initiated for a total of $461,000. Currently, we're up to 18 projects and a little over $500,000. These have all been break fix at this point in time, including some pumps, condensate pumps, hot water tank, variable frequency drive, and we had to replace both of the windsocks, one on Glick and one on the critical care pavilion, because the heavy winds that we had a few weeks back destroyed both of them. They've been temporarily installed to keep working, and we also have one on one of the legacy buildings, so we're not without windsocks, but those have been ordered. 2 larger projects, including the replacement of some failed chilled water valves and also replacing some transfer switch controls that have also failed, which is part of the electrical system.
Aaron, excuse me for not knowing, but what is a windsock?
Oh, that's the sock that the pilots look at when they're landing the helicopter to see the direction.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, been there a long time, but I never heard that one before. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Next slide, please. And then we've got a number of projects planned for 2026. Principally, we'll be supporting the Campus Transformation 2.0 utilities relocation so that we can allow the legacy buildings to be demolished. There'll be a lot of utilities relocations. We've got almost 30 conjoined buildings on the campus that'll have to be separated to allow the demolition to happen. We'll also be involved with the commissioning of the outpatient health center. We've got staff training that's at this point scheduled for March in preparations to handing off that building to us to manage. And we've got ongoing assessments going on to maintain our regulatory survey readiness. We've got a number of capital projects that are planned. Replacement of roofs, fire alarm and suppression systems, flooring, lighting, electrical, generator controls and paralleling gear upgrades, replacement of rooftop HVAC units, IS closet, air conditioning units, and other HVAC, as well as recommissioning some of the older critical air handling units on campus to ensure that they're behaving reliably 24/7. We've got more reverse osmosis DI water systems to upgrade, actually one more to be completed, which is ongoing right now to be compliant with current codes. And we're likely going to replace and upsize a water main on the campus, as well as refurbishing elevators, parking lots, sidewalks, and lighting. So we've got a full plate of activities planned for this year. Any questions?
If I can add just a comment or two about this. You saw the break fix total that we had for last year. Karen's been tracking this. And so that information as to what we've been spending, we've used that as the basis for planning capital for next year, because we know there are things that we're going to need to do. So the capital budget has an amount similar to what you saw there baked in for that purpose. So that's helpful there. The capital projects for this year include obviously some routine kinds of things, but there are other things too that you have in there, such as the water main and a few other things that are really related to the broader campus transformation activities we're doing to get out of the building. So it's a mix of things, but just wanted you to be aware of that.
Okay.
I think that's the report.
Any questions for Ms. Detloff?
Jim, I just have one. So on
Sure.
that list, the one that scares me the most is the water main.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that, again, it's a combined effort looking at that could result in an incident command center activation and coming up with alternative plans. I'm assuming that's all done in conjunction with the clinical team and the rest of the institution.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
We're fortunate in the fact that we have a complete ring around the campus.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
And several branches coming through the campus, so we can isolate a section of it and still be fed from 2 different water sources while this is happening.
Okay. So
But
sorry,
you're
that's the
right.
only one that's the only one that scared me, Jim. Sorry.
Yeah. No, there are others, but you're right. This is one where when I've done these kinds of things in the past, you get the core group of people, so everybody's aware of what's going to happen, what's the sequence of events, and what our backup plan is. And as Karen pointed out, in this case, we do have alternate feeds. We just need to make sure everything's open and ready to go.
And Karen, so that was a previous question I asked about the redundancy of not just that, your chilled water, your steam, your natural gas, your power generation, and your water distribution. So, but again, water main breaks sometimes lead to bad things. So.
Yeah.
Oh, we've been there and done that. So
I know you have. So, okay. Thank you. I'll be quiet.
No, you're fine. I appreciate all the questions. I'd love to show you the infrastructure sometime.
She would,
Well,
trust me, Ron.
that
She
does-
would do that.
You raise a great question, Ron. That's assuming the city side supply line is reliable. Do we have concerns there as well by age or design?
It is a
I'll
very old
answer for Karen. So the idea is that if you can create a redundancy, so if you encircle the building and you're able to isolate valves, and protect the majority of your feet in, it reduces the risk you have to do an incident command. And that's why they have an incident command structure, Mike, so that in the event that happens, they pull together as a team and solve the problem. So, but trust me, water main breaks in city of Cleveland are a regular occurrence. So luckily, Metro was built later as opposed to the downtown area where Severance Hall is. So.
Yeah, so what I'm assuming is we do have more than one water main feeding our private system.
Yes.
Yes.
That's great.
Any other questions? Well, I want to thank all of you for excellent reports and good discussion. And we're now going to move into executive session to discuss hospital trade secrets as defined by ORC 1333.61. Do I have a motion to move into executive session to discuss these matters?
So
moved. Second.
All right. Now, just so nobody's feelings will be hurt, you remember with our new change in policy now, we're only going to do everybody's welcome to, all the board members are welcome to stay, but we'll do the roll call for the official members, which right now I think is just John and me. So John, are you okay with this?
Yes.
I am too. So we are now going to move into executive session. But all board members are welcome to stay.
Go ahead.
1 second, Dr. Walker.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Wellens, I didn't know you were a photographer.
See Dr. Walker. Where's Dr. Walker?
He's
Dr.
there.
Okay, Dr. Walker, we're back in public session.
All right, thank you. All right, so for the record, I want 50 minutes added to my count for
Next meeting.
I'm sure I'll probably claim by the end of the day, but we'll put it in the bank. Does anyone have any other business or questions before we adjourn the meeting? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.